Well, good afternoon. Thank you all for joining us for today's session, Money School session in partnership with the UD Cooperative Extension. Today we're going to be talking about stretching your food dollars. So how to best make your food dollars work for your household. We have a guest instructor who is going to go ahead and give us tips and tidbits and things to do so that we can make this work best.
Well, thank you, Jasmine. My name is Michelle Vogel, as she shared. So I am a nutrition assistant at the University of Delaware, and we go around throughout the community teaching people how to eat healthier without spending a lot of money at the grocery store, and how to also save time eating at home versus going out. So today we're going to talk about stretching that food dollar and the benefits of planning. We are an equal opportunity provider, and we just want to give a big thank you to our Delaware Division of Public Libraries, to the Delaware Money School, and to UD Cooperative Extension for this partnership. You can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and also YouTube. Right now we're doing some really great produce recipes that we are posting on both our Facebook and YouTube accounts, which is University of Delaware Cooperative Extension. So what we're doing there is we're doing a new produce each week and incorporating that into an easy, simple, and inexpensive recipe. Sometimes we do go out, and other times we do stay home. What kind of foods are we choosing when we go out to eat? Here's the big thing when it comes to eating out. Typically when we eat out, we are definitely eating larger portion sizes unless you're ordering from the menu. Our food definitely contains more calories, fat, sugar, and salts. There are few, or sometimes almost none, fruits and vegetables. Sorry, French fries do not count as a vegetable. There are fewer whole grains. There's fewer low-fat dairy products and also less fiber. And what happens when we have more of the calories, fat, and sugar and less of everything else, that causes us to not be as full as we could possibly be. And we're eating all these calories and not getting the most nutritional value for them. So when you eat at home, you have a tendency to eat more healthy. You get to know what is going into the foods that you are eating. You're a little bit more in control of your portion sizes. You definitely saves you time, especially depending on where you live. Some of us have quick access to a restaurant. Others of us have a pretty long distance to drive to get somewhere. And it also saves you money. Right now, a lot of restaurants with only being open at, I believe it's still 30% capacity, people have been doing things like Grubhub, Uber Eats, and all the other avenues of getting food delivered to your house. But that really does add up. That delivery fee is not cheap. So you can definitely save yourself money by eating at home as well. So this is just a quick example of a similar meal that you can make at home compared to one that you get eating out. Look at the difference in calories. It's double the amount of calories. Fat content is much greater, and that's because of a lot of the oils that are used when it comes to making that meal at a restaurant. Saturated fat is, you see, oh, it's only 1 gram more, but we're really not supposed to have we're supposed to have very minimal amount saturated fat, if any, in our diet. Our fiber is 7 grams at home. It is more for the takeout meal, which is not always the same. But also notice at the takeout meal, you have the noodles. So that's where some of your fiber is coming from. So with the at-home meal, which is full and loaded of all different kinds of vegetables, you could add some brown rice to that meal as well, and that would increase your fiber content. Now here's the big one, sodium. 65 milligrams at home, 3,440 milligrams for the takeout meal. Our total amount of sodium for the day should be around 2,400 milligrams, and that's the maximum. If we have high blood pressure, heart disease that runs in our family, then that number should be smaller. What that is equal to is 1 teaspoon of salt. So it's a pretty small amount of sugar that we should have each day. So right there off the bat, by eating that one meal, you're already over the amount of sodium you should have within a day. And that's pretty typical with foods of this nature. So cooking this at home, you're getting more vegetables, you are getting less sodium, and your calorie content is a lot less in addition to the fat. So this is just one of many examples I could give you of the benefits of eating at home. So there's 4 steps when it comes to eating a nice meal at home that's not expensive, that takes a little bit of time. It's planning, shopping, fixing your food, and eating it. And today we're going to touch on the first 2. We're going to talk about planning a meal and shopping for the meal. Planning really does make it happen. I can't stress that enough. So we're going to go over a few steps. Planning, I'm going to just kind of cover a couple things real quick. Should only really take about 30 minutes each week. And that probably will get shorter as you practice planning more and more. And this is your go-to list. You can list your main dishes and side dishes that are your family favorites. So some of my main dishes that are family favorites are pasta. We like to have salmon, chicken and dumplings. We have this time of year maybe burgers. So those would be some things that I would list on my main dish of things that my family loves to eat. And then on the side dishes, you could do that as well. Maybe potato salad, maybe rice, broccoli. Some quick things that you can put together as a side. And then just by having those 2 quick lists of things that you can pull from will help making planning that much easier. Down here, this is where you write down what you're going to have for the week. When you are thinking about what you want to have for the week, you also want to think about what's happening during that day. So at this point, there's not a lot of things that are open. There's not a lot of activities that are going on. So you have a little bit more time probably to prepare a dinner. But when we get back in the swing of things, maybe you have baseball practice at night. Maybe your child has soccer practice. Maybe there's music lessons, whatever it may be. You need to think about how much time you have each night to prepare your meal. So what are you going to have Monday night, Tuesday night, Wednesday, and throughout the rest of the week? And here's the key. You can reuse some of the foods that you cook on Monday night and use them on Thursday night as well. And we'll talk about that a little bit more. So this is a nice handy sheet to have. And I will tell you that I have my main dishes. I probably have about 20 main dishes that my family loves. And I'll try to incorporate those, at least 3 or 4 of them, into the menu for the week. Try to set aside those 30 minutes to plan. You want to think about what are you having for your main meal? What are you having for your sides? And you also want to think about your desserts as well. When we're thinking about desserts, though, it's not like we're going to have brownies, cookies, ice cream, not necessarily that, but maybe we're going to have yogurt with fruit on top and granola. Maybe we are going to have ice cream, but we're going to put fruit on there instead of hot syrup, caramel, trying to get some more nutritional value from that dessert. This 30 minutes, I will tell you, has saved my so much time because before I started planning my meals, what I would do, I'd go in the refrigerator, look what I have, go in the cupboard, look what I have, and go back and forth so many times. I would spend 30 minutes probably just thinking about what I wanted for a meal on that night. So taking that 30 minutes, Monday night, I know we're having chicken with Caesar salad. I already have bought all the ingredients when I go to the store. I come home. It takes me, 20 minutes to make it that meal. So that really does save you time. And it also helps with the question, Mom, what's for dinner? Dad, what's for dinner? It's right here. It's on the sheet. You already know. So it really does help. Sometimes our agendas do change. And maybe we had a half hour to make a meal on Wednesday night, but something came up. We only have 10 minutes now. Maybe there's a meal that you planned that was shorter and just switch things up. You still have all those ingredients on hand and just switch that meal for another night. So there are some great places to go and look for ideas. Newspapers have recipes, magazines. I love to stand in the grocery store and look at magazines if you're waiting. Well, right now I'm not touching too much, but when you are seeing the stores waiting in lines, there's the magazines there. There might be some nice recipes you find in there. Cookbooks. I love to just thumb through some cookbooks. Internet is so easy and accessible. I love to read the reviews on there to see which recommendations people have. Recipe cards, and then friends and family, which is absolutely my best route. Usually my recipes, I taste it, I'm like, oh, I want this one. And then that's incorporated into my recipe holder. So friends and family is my go-to source. Keep it simple. So this is one thing when I notice I do look through cookbooks is there might be 20 steps. I don't have time to read through all those 20 steps every single night. So keep it simple. The fewer ingredients, the fewer steps, the easier it's going to be to make. So make sure you select those recipes with few ingredients. Preparing a one-pot entree is going to help you to not only have a shorter cooking time, it's also going to help with that cleanup. I always tell people, I don't care if it takes me an hour in the kitchen if I have the time. I love doing that. But when I turn around and see the dishes, that's a whole nother story. The cooking's the fun part for me. The cleanup, not so much. So one-pot meals are definitely a great route to go. And then use simple cooking terms. There's sometimes I look at a recipe, I'm like, I don't know what that means. Next. So try to keep it simple, few ingredients, and easy cooking terms. Here's just a list of some quick dinner ideas. All these are really nutritious. A quick vegetable soup and a sandwich. So you're getting a vegetable there, you're getting grains from the bread. If you put cheese on there, you're getting dairy. You can load up the vegetables on the sandwich as well. Some people like to put avocado on there and use it as the creamy base versus putting mayonnaise on. Whole wheat pasta, you're going to get more fiber than a white pasta. And whole wheat pasta has really come down in price. It's pretty comparable to a white pasta now. But there are just some other options on here that you guys can see. Simple, easy ingredients, a lot of things that you may already have on hand. Eggs, great and nutritious. And the one thing I want to share about eggs is some people share that they don't like the yellow part of the egg because it's high in cholesterol, which is something some of us do have to concern ourselves with. But the yellow part is really where all the nutrients is. So if you are able to and you don't run high in cholesterol, I would highly encourage you to not only eat the white part of the egg, but the yellow part as well. Yes, Jasmine.
Can I ask a question about that? So I hear people say that, oh, I eat egg whites, and oh, you get the egg white and you get the egg white. So egg white versus the yolk is the more healthier part.
In a sense, it depends what you're looking for.
Okay.
So the nutritional value is housed in the yolk of the egg, the yellow part. The white part is fat-free. The yellow part has fat. So if you are trying to really be conscious of the amount of fat that's in your diet, then that may be something to look for, is to look on the white, stay with the whites. But if you're looking for that nutritional value, it's really in the yellow part of the egg. Fruits and vegetables. So fruits and vegetables, nutritionally speaking, they pretty much have the same nutritional value, whether it's fresh, frozen, or canned. By the time you buy that fresh produce and it sits in your fridge for a couple days or on the counter, it's lost nutritional value. So really at the end of the day, you're getting the same nutrients from either one of these products. What it comes down to for me is what I prefer taste-wise, and also cost perspective as well. So you can buy fresh if that's your preference and if that's the best what's in your budget. You can buy frozen. Frozen vegetables, you want to make sure that they are not in any sauce because that increases your sodium content. Frozen fruit, you want to make sure that it's just the fruit. And you can tell now when you turn to the back where the nutrition facts label is, it will tell you if there's any added sugar. That is a new thing on the label. It will say added sugar and you want it to say 0. If it says anything different than that, go and find a new product. There will be sugar, it just will not be added sugar. So if you buy a bag of frozen strawberries and you look, it will say 0 added sugar and the ingredients should be strawberries, and that's it. So frozen is sauce, and for vegetables, and for fruits, it should just be the actual fruit. When we come to canned vegetables, you want to buy canned in low sodium or no salt added. And even when you're buying them that way, you still want to rinse them off before you use the product. And then for fruits that are canned, you want to buy it in its own juices or in water. Light syrup and heavy syrup just add more sugar that we don't need to our diet. So again, either way is perfectly fine. Just look for those differences. Frozen, you want it to be just the vegetable and just the fruit. Canned, no salt or low sodium. And for the fruits that are canned, in its own juices or water. And price perspective, it's pretty much the same as well. There's not a lot of difference between buying a high syrup product versus in its own juices. Something else we want to really try to include in our diet is whole grains. There are many different kinds of whole grains out there. And why do we want to focus on this? Whole grains are high in fiber. Fiber helps us to feel more full. Fiber helps us to decrease our chances of heart disease. It helps to decrease our risk of some cancers as well. So fiber has a lot of great benefits to it. There's been a lot of promotion lately when it comes to diets to do a low carb. When you do a low carb diet, you may also be losing some of the fiber that our body does need. So really make sure that if you're choosing a low carb diet, you're still getting the fiber content that your body requires. With increased fiber content, you also want to make sure that you're drinking enough water, because if you don't, you may get a little backed up and feel uncomfortable. So make sure with increased fiber intake, you also increase your water intake as well. Whole grain products, like you see here, it can be bread, brown rice, quinoa, barley, and it is key that says barley versus a pearled barley. A pearled barley is not whole grain. There's whole grain couscous out there. Popcorn is a whole grain, millet. So there's a lot of whole grain options out there. And if you want to sometime, just go look up whole grain foods and you will get quite a list. So what's for dinner? Take that 30 minutes, plan each week, and then make sure you plan that time to go shopping. And as I've shared before, this is going to eliminate that question, what's for dinner every night? It's written, it's on the list. It's not going to help your family, but it's going to help you as well. So one thing I do is I typically buy my meats in bulk, because let me tell you, it is a lot cheaper per pound to buy your meats in bulk. Whether you're talking about fish, whether you're talking about ground meat, whether you're talking about chicken. So what I do is when I come home from the grocery stores, I take those bulk items and I separate them into what we typically have for a meal. So in my bulk chicken, there might be 10 chicken breasts, and I'll take 2 of them, put in a Ziploc baggie, and put in the freezer. Then, because I've now meal planned, on Tuesday night, I know I need to have my chicken ready for us to eat. So I'll pull that out of the freezer Sunday or Monday and have it ready to go by Tuesday. If I didn't meal plan, I would have looked in the freezer and been like, oh, my chicken's not defrosted. What am I going to do now? So really, that is probably one of the biggest things that meal planning has helped me is, okay, I know this is what we're having this night. This is what I need to pull out of the freezer to make sure that everything's prepped and ready to go for when I need it. Here are some things that you always want to have on hand, even if it's maybe not on your menu for the week. This comes in handy when I shared before. I had a half hour to make dinner. Now I only have 10 minutes. What am I going to do? These staple items are going to help you to create a meal super quick. And again, you're not going to have to go through the drive-thru, spend that extra money, and have all those extra calories. These are things you can make quickly. Young kids can even make a lot of these foods by using any of these ingredients on this list. So make sure before you go shopping, you check what you have, you list what you need, and you include the basics. When we go shopping, we want to stick to a budget. So by checking what we have is going to help us avoid going to the store, spending $2 or $3 on something that we already had in our cupboards. So make sure you check your cupboards, check your refrigerator, make your list. We're going to talk a little bit later about how to make that list and include the basics. So always have peanut butter on hand or something of that nature if you have an allergy to peanut butter. Cereal, when you're buying your cereal, make sure that it's not an added sugar loaded cereal, things like a Captain Crunch or what are some of those other popular ones? Reese's, I think there's a Reese's Puffs one. Those are loaded in added sugar. Go for more of the granolas, your Special K's, your Cheerios. But again, look and see how much added sugar they do have. Rice or pasta, that can be done so quickly, and it is a nice addition to a meal, or to just have it as a meal itself with vegetables added in or stir fry like we shared. Bread, you can make a sandwich. A sandwich is really okay to have for dinner. Fruits and vegetables, that'll be nice to have as your side. Milk and eggs. All these things are great to have on hand. Fruits and vegetables you can prepare very quickly. You don't have to cook them for the most part. And hey, I'm grabbing an apple on the go. All right, I'm grabbing an apple. It can be a snack. So definitely have those fruits and vegetables on hand. When you have your fruits and vegetables in the house, what I like to do is I like to keep some in the refrigerator, and I like to keep some on the counter. When you go in the kitchen, what is the first thing you grab for? Think about it. What is the first thing you grab for? It's what your eyes see. So if there's a bag of chips on the counter, that's what you're going to go for. If there are crackers on the counter, that's what you're going to go for. If you have a bowl of fruits or vegetables on the counter, that's what you're going to go for. So if we're hungry and our eyes sees that first, you're going to have more of a tendency to increase your vegetable and fruit intake just by having a bowl of fruit or vegetables on the counter. So make sure, just in a review, make a list of your favorite vegetables, create the menu for the week, okay? Try to avoid, nightly, just because you're spending more money going back and forth to the grocery store. You're probably not going to get the best price for your foods. And some people like to do 2 weeks out, and that's perfectly fine. I can't always think that far ahead, but some people have that gift. Make a grocery list. Make a grocery list. Make a grocery list. Very key. And then enjoy grocery shopping. How do we enjoy grocery shopping? We don't go to the store on the weekends. Unless you want to have a 2-hour adventure and see all of your neighbors, go for it. But if you want to be in and out in a half hour, try to avoid going to the grocery store on the weekends or July 4th. Try to avoid going on July 3rd because people are going to be out shopping a lot. So think about the time of day you are going. Mondays, if you're able to go in the morning, like you're going to get some great deals. Monday mornings at some stores, they have manager specials on meats. You'll find specials on bakery items at that time as well. So going in the morning, if you're able to, does have its unique benefits, but it's not always possible. I'm not usually able to go in the morning. But try to think about the time of day and when you are going to the grocery store. The other key thing about eating and planning is try to eat meals as a family, sitting at the table, TV off, cell phones down, and 2 big reasons. A, things come up at the dinner table that may have not gotten brought up otherwise. And B, when we're sitting down and enjoying and having a conversation, we're going to be slower to eat our food versus watching TV and on our phone. We may eat really quickly. We may be done a meal in 5 or 10 minutes, and we're still hungry afterwards. If we're having conversation and slowly eating, our body has time to get full. So it avoids us overeating as well. So there's 2 really great benefits that come from eating at the dinner table. So before we go to the store, like we shared, make your shopping list. That way you know where you got to go in the store, what you have to get. It's going to help you stay on your budget. It's going to save you time. When you make your shopping list, especially with the way the stores are set up right now, it is right now more important than ever to make that list according to groupings. So in the produce section, put all of your foods that you're going to need to buy in the produce section together. All of your canned products, put those together on the list. All your frozen products, put those together. All your cheese products, dairy products, put that together. So that way when you go down those aisles, you go down there one time, you're grabbing what you need, you're putting in the cart, and then you can go down on the next aisle. Because right now you're not supposed to go backtracking down the aisle back and forth. So making sure that those rules are followed, it's going to help you by making that list and grouping things together. Select the coupons that you may use and also review your sales. Those are all very key things. Ads typically come out around Thursday or Friday, so check those ads. Use those ads to make your list. Make your shopping list based on your menu for the week. So we're gonna have chicken, we're gonna have chicken and dumplings, we're gonna have hamburgers, and we're gonna have a sandwich with soup. Those are the items that you need to buy for. Make sure you check your cupboards and your refrigerator for things that you already have and see how you can incorporate those for the week. And then make your list for any additional items you may need. Some things I'll share that I personally forget. Maybe I ran out of a spice or an herb and then I go to make that meal and I forgot to write that on my list. So what I think would be a great idea is if you had a little pad of paper somewhere in your kitchen and just mark those things that we may forget to buy. So I ran out of oregano, I'll put that on my list. So when I go to the grocery store, I know I need to buy it because that's something I use all the time. So if you have certain spices that you like to have on hand all the time, Make sure when you run out of them, you add them to the list. That when you go grab for it, you have it. Coupons can be found in multiple places on food packages, grocery store aisles, grocery receipts, newspapers, magazines, and on the internet. Some people have shared with me that are much better at couponing than I am. Retail Me Not is a really great place to find coupons for the grocery stores and on the receipts for grocery stores. They may not be coupons that you can use at the grocery store, but they may be coupons that you can use for other parts of your life. So make sure to keep a hold onto those receipts, and anywhere you can save money, make sure you use those coupons as long as it's going to give you the best value. Checking your newspaper and in-store flyers for what is on sale. This is very key. You want to make sure that what's on sale is still getting you the best buy. How I really focus on what kind of fruits and vegetables I'm going to buy for the week are typically ones that are on sale. So avocados, I love them, but they can be very expensive. I will wait for them to go on sale to buy them. Bananas are a staple item in our house, and they sometimes may go on sale, but there are stores that I know that are always bottom line price. So I'll go there to buy my bananas weekly because I know that we go through them. So make sure you look through those ads, what's on sale, try to include that type of produce in your basket. And here's another perspective. My dad taught me this. So he's like, you go to the deli and you pay $5.99 a pound for meat. Per pound, when you're talking about fruits and vegetables, are much less. So per pound, they're not terribly expensive. We always think about fresh fruits and produce being expensive. Well, you also want to think about that in perspective. Shopping tips, make sure you have a budget. It is great to have a budget. You don't have to break your bank by going to the grocery store and eating healthy. I would say the majority of the meals that we make, not only in our class, but also in my house, probably between $10 and $12 is what I would spend per meal at the most, unless I'm making something a little bit more extravagant. Make your list, stick to your list, which can be tricky, but try your best to stick to your list. Don't shop when you're hungry, and teach your children to shop with the list as well. My daughter loves to go grocery shopping with me. She can't wait to be back in the grocery stores. And she enjoys shopping with that list, putting things on the conveyor belt to go down to the cashier. So again, having them in the kitchen, having them shopping with you, you're teaching them wonderful skills. So make sure you shop after you eat. If that even means grabbing a granola bar, grabbing an apple before you go to the store, that will satisfy your stomach for a little bit. Beware of specials that are not really the best buy, and make sure that using coupons give you the best price. So there may be an item that you typically buy for $2, but with the you now have a coupon for another item. Well, that item may be more money than your typical item that you buy. So make sure that the coupon is getting you the best buy. On the other side, I love my Special K strawberry cereal, but it's very expensive compared to others. So I wait for it to go on sale. So it was on sale for $1.99. I was like, yes, this is great. And a lady turns around, she's like, I have a coupon for that. So I was able to get this box of cereal that's typically around $4.99 for 99 cents per box. I was ecstatic. So this lady is very good at couponing. You can find coupons that relate to specials in the at certain stores. So pull out your coupons, pull your ads at the same time, and see if you can combine that coupon with a special that's being run and save yourself some more money. Be aware of specials that are not really the best buy. This happens quite a bit. Buy 6 bags of cheese for $1.99 each. Wow, that's a great price. $1.99? Okay, great. But now you spent $1.99 on 6 bags. So you just spent $12 on cheese. Versus if you just bought that 1 bag of cheese that you needed, maybe paid $2.50, you only spent 50 cents more instead of $10 more by buying that item that was on special. But now you have a lot more than you need. You may not have room for that, and you just spent a lot more money. And those specials are things that really cause us to break our budget when we go shopping. There are some specials, though, that you can buy 10 items for $10, and you don't always have to buy 10 of that item. So make sure you read the small print, whether you have to buy the quantity specified in order to get that special. And if you do, If it's not an item that you're going to use a lot of, or if it's not within your budget, just buy the one item and spend a little bit more money. But again, you're not buying 10 of an item and spending all the extra dollars. Fruits and vegetables that are in season. So right now we're right in my favorite season. The berries and greens are great. We're going to be coming up on our melons and tomatoes season, corn. When you buy foods that are in season, you are going to get foods that are cheaper, they last longer, and they taste much better as well. This year was a little unique with the strawberries. They stayed pretty good all year round, and they stayed at a really good price all year round as well. But typically in the fall time, our apples and our butternut squash are our fall produce. Our berries and greens are our spring produce. Melons and tomatoes are our summer. And sweet potatoes and broccoli are our winter produce. Just kind of a cool field trip if you ever want to go on one. If you go down to Sussex County by the beaches, you'll see these huge watermelon farms, and they just chuck them into the back of these open buses. And it's just kind of cool to see a local produce that's grown in Delaware being harvested. So these are fruits that are in season in accordance with Delaware. So again, these foods are cheaper, tastier, and last longer when you buy them in season. So visit those local farmers markets. They can have some great deals. Sometimes they're a little bit more money. You're going to be buying things that are local. You're going to be buying foods that haven't traveled or a really long distance. So my key advice here is know your prices when you go to the local farmers markets. Local farmers markets also, especially the ones that are at county parks, do accept your SNAP benefits. So make sure you check with that, and you should be able to use your SNAP benefits at the local farmers markets. So here are just some quick ideas. If you need a snack, these are cheap, easy snacks. An apple and an ounce of cheese. I would like to have apple with peanut butter. 6-ounce container of yogurt, and if you wanted to, you could put a little bit of granola in there to give it an extra texture. And also that's a whole grain, the oats, so you can increase your fiber content as well. Even something like Cheerios and a glass of, or some milk. You're getting your dairy and you're getting greens. So these are healthy, easy, inexpensive meals, or sorry, snacks that you can have ready to go. Here is some trivia. So we're going to talk about the difference between items, mainly a name brand versus a store brand, and compare price differences. So here is a ham. It is 9 ounces. Each ounce costs me 38 cents. So how they get to this big number here is they multiply 38 ounces, multiply it by 38 cents, because 38 cents per ounce. Take 0.38 times it by 9, and that's how they get $3.49. So this is called your unit price. This is going to help you to buy the item at the Best Buy, because it will tell you per an ounce, side by side, what each item costs. Things you want to watch out for is that they're comparing using the same unit. Okay, I have 2 examples now. So mayonnaise, I went to buy mayonnaise, and it was this nice small bottle in a nice squeezing container, and I was wondering why the unit price was so much cheaper. One was comparing per an ounce compared to a different unit of measurement. I want to say it was per pound. So big difference in measurements. That's why it seemed like it was cheaper to buy the squeezing bottle, but it's because they were comparing one was comparing per pound, per an ounce. So you want to make sure that that measurement's the same. I also ran into that when I was buying milk the other day, that it was 2 different brands, but they were comparing different measurement amounts. So they weren't basing it on just an ounce. I think one was an ounce and one was using another unit of measure. So make sure when you're comparing the prices that the measurement is the same. So here is an example of applesauce. We have a 25-ounce jar of applesauce and a 50-ounce jar of applesauce. So 2 different sizes. The smaller jar is 5 cents per an ounce, okay? And the smaller one, the bigger one, is 4 cents per an ounce. So per an ounce, based upon the unit price, the second one, the 50-ounce jar, is cheaper. Even though your walk out the door price here is less money, you're not getting as much food for that price. So if you were going to consume, if you consume applesauce often enough, and you're going to use it before it goes bad, then I would suggest buying the one that is cheaper per unit ounce, because you're only spending 4 cents per an ounce instead of 5 cents per an ounce. Here's another example. So this large container of yogurt is 32 ounces and it's 8 cents per ounce. The small container, the individual size, is 6 ounces and it is 11 cents per ounce. So here's another example of where buying the bigger product is cheaper per an ounce. A couple of stores are starting to do club size items, even though it's not a club store. So your club stores are things like a BJ's and a Costco's. But other stores like Acme's, ShopRite's are starting to do club size items. So if you eat a lot of an item, look at those club size items and you may find that it is cheaper to buy a little bit bigger of quantity than buying the smaller amount. So we go through yogurt very quickly in our house, and I found club size yogurt at the store, and it was cheaper for me to get the club size per an ounce based upon the unit price versus buying the individual containers. Here's another example. So this big container is 23 cents per an ounce. The light tuna is 5 ounces. It is 19 cents per an ounce. So this is an example that's different than the other two. This cheaper one here is the smaller container per an ounce based upon the unit price. So look at that unit price, see which one is the best buy, and go ahead and purchase the one that is best suited for your family. Store brand low fat sliced ham versus name brand. The store brand is 24 cents per an ounce and the name brand is 30% per an ounce. 95% of the time, your store brand is going to be cheaper unless there is a brand name on sale. And if you're like, ew, store brand, it's not my thing. You may be surprised how good the taste is of store brand products. There are some things that really don't equal up, but a lot of things do. So store brand pastas, store brand soups, try them out, see which one your family likes and enjoys, and try to go the cheaper route and be open to the cheaper option. And if you are trying something new, I would suggest buying a small quantity of that item, not buying, maybe it's green beans are on sale. Instead of buying 10 packs of the green beans, just buy 1 or 2, what you'll need for that one meal. Try it out, see if you like it. And if you do, you know that's something you can buy later on. You want to avoid buying 10 of it, trying them out, be like, ew, these weren't my favorite, and going from there. And that's the same whether it's a store brand product or a name brand. If you're trying something new, buy a small quantity of it and try it out. All right, this is just another example. I'm going to go ahead and skip this because of time. All right, so a recap of our shopping tips. Start with your list, okay? So we've made our plan for the week. Now we need to take that plan and make our lists. When you're making your list, check the store sales, select your best buy. Make sure you take your coupons with you. So I like to put my coupons and lists together. A person in another class gave me this great tip. I like to write my list on a piece of paper, and that way I can cross it off when I buy it in the store. But sometimes I left that list at home before, so she's like, take a picture on your phone, and that way I at least have a backup option in case I do leave my list at home. So that's a great trick. Take a picture of it on your phone as well, and then that way you have it in 2 places. Check the unit pricing on all of your items, and then at the end of the day, select your best buy. In addition to all this, you want to make sure that you're buying foods that have a good nutritional value to it as well. But these are all tips and tricks for when you go shopping at the grocery store and ways that you can save yourself some money at the grocery store, save yourself time at the grocery store, and also save yourself time when it comes to cooking your meals. So I just want you all to think about what is one change you think you'll make and how you shop and prepare your menu for the week. If you want to share, you are more than welcome to. Jasmine.
So I will start using coupons. I get those mailer, like the little magazine mailer things in my mailbox, and I just throw them away every time. Like I never look at them, but I will start looking at them and really like trying to save that
Yes.
way too.
So yeah,
Definitely.
coupons can be great. Again, just making sure they're not making us spend extra money, right? So great. Take those coupons. Maria, I see some things coming in the chat box. What is being shared? Well, thank you guys so much. I really appreciate you guys coming and joining us.
Michelle, you did a great job
You're very
helping us better understand how to plan and stretch our food dollar